Hey guys, it's Keith Grevenitz here in the Beat Sessions today to tell you about a group that you might not have heard of, but you probably should have. I'm going to be reviewing a band called The Arcs and their second studio album release, Electrophonic, which is a very fun album. I like the album art, the little weed, the apple pipe, pretty killer. If you haven't heard of these guys and think that they came from out of nowhere, you might be surprised to find out that the Arcs are the product of guitarist and vocalist Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys. Dan and the Arcs released their first studio album, Yours Dreamily, in 2015 and also performed at the 2016 Coachella Festival. The band consists of Dan on lead vocals and electric guitar, Leon Michaels on farfisa organ, which if you don't know what this is, it's a compact electric organ. He also plays the synthesizer, electric guitar, and drum pads. Leon is a touring member of the Black Keys, a founding member of Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, and Lee Fields and the Expressions, and has performed with the Wu-Tang Clan. Leon has also produced albums for Norah Jones and Chicano Batman. Then we have another Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings alum, Nick Marshall, on bass guitar. We have Homer Steinweiss, who has also played with the Dap Kings and is a session musician known for working with Mark Ronson and Amy Winehouse on drums, percussion, bass, and guitar. And then Richard Swift on drums, percussion, keyboards, drum pads, and backing vocals. It is exciting to see so many multi-talented musicians together in one group. Unfortunately, the band lost Richard Swift in 2018 to complications from hepatitis, as well as liver and kidney distress. So while he isn't on this last album, I thought he was worth a mention in memoriam. Dan Auerbach, man, this guy is simply exciting. He's an exciting person in music. Not only does he play for the Black Keys, the Arcs, and release solo albums, Auerbach also owns the Easy Eye sound recording studio and recording labels out of Nashville, Tennessee. Auerbach has recorded and produced records by artists like Cage the Elephant, Lana Del Rey, CeeLo Green, Hank Williams Jr., and even The Pretenders, which I think is pretty cool. What a busy guy he is. Maybe that's why he's gotten divorced twice in the past 10 years. I can't imagine he has any time for significant others, considering all the work he's doing. Dan received the 2013 Grammy Award for Producer of the Year and was nominated again for the award in 2020, 2021, and 2023. Let's get into the Arcs. Comparing to the Black Keys, I'd say they're a little less fuzz prominent, more of an electronic drum sound, psychedelic funky pop, and R&B. I say this is a great band to bridge the gap between real musical talent and what I'd refer to as some of the neo R&B that I've been hearing that has become popular lately. My girlfriend listens to a group called Still Woozy, which has a cool sound, but it just lacks that maturity, dynamics, and the more exciting production of this Dan Auerbach brainchild. Let's break Electrophonic down track by track. The opener, Keep on Dreaming, is funky and exciting opening with some sax and some farfisa organ. The sound fattens into a more chill drum beat and a neo-psychedelic sound. We have synth, we have the farfisa, we have some just fuzzy guitars. The drum really brings this track life and shifting back and forth from the funkier beat to a more spacey one. We have stops, a really cool breakdown. This opening track will have the hooks in you, I'm certain. Track 2 is called Eyes with a Z. Has a sweet rhythm, really cool bass line. This song seems like something we might be hearing on the radio. It's a crossover song. I think it's one the girls will like. The vocals are very top 40 accessible, but yet this is a track that everyone can still vibe to. I could also hear it being soundtrack worthy. A lot of vocal effects in the chorus. It stays psychedelic and dreamy throughout. Track 3 is called Heaven is a Place, and as you might expect, it has a heavenly sound. We have some organ, R&B vocals, and a coupling with some drum pad sounding percussion and a fuzzy electric guitar to break it all up. Everyone comes down in the mix, and the R&B vocals are isolated, teasing us back to our big chorus. This is a good track, but it's definitely for a different audience than the Black Keys, which is good. I mean, why do the same thing? Next, we get Caliphone Interlude as our fourth track. It's a purely instrumental, and it's just about a minute and 30 of some twang and reverb. It's fun. Track 5 is River, and Auerbach counts us in the band in with a 1-2-3 and moves into an R&B sounding song and more R&B sounding vocals from our boy Dan. Trilly organ, build-ups and dropouts. We get a bit of a retro sound here fused with that neo R&B sound that's laced throughout this album. Track 6 is called Sunshine. We have what I'd call a hip-hop beat sound here. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some rapping in this song, but instead we get more of Dan's sweet sounds. There's a female harmonizing chorus that is again more reminiscent of a hip-hop song, but I like the genre melding here. In this way, again, it is an album that is accessible to people with a more top 40 taste buds. Track 7, A Man Will Do Wrong. Yes, he will. And it's a classic R&B sound, perhaps a little bluesy in essence, definitely an African-American derived sound with some gospel sounding backup vocals peppering this one. This one is slow, but with a big, big vintage sound. Very big, fat sound. Track 8, it sounds a little different at start. It's called Behind the Eyes. It opens with some acoustic guitar and some relatively clean electric guitar. The pretty chill verse where we even hear some like steel guitar, maybe lap guitar moves into a really big chorus with a bit more of crunchy guitar and a very noticeable tambourine. We get a simple but nice guitar solo that's supported by an organ backing. The vocals sound different here. Doesn't even really sound like Dan. If anyone can tell me if it's someone else, please comment. Let's hear from you. Track 9 is called Backstage Mess and is another short track without lyrics, but we do have some ooh-wee vocals, you know what I mean? This has some very vintage 1950s sound. It's fun that they put this on the album. It definitely takes you back in time. It leads into track 10, which isn't really music. It's more of an artistic expression with a recording of a woman's voice for around 15 seconds. It's not too much worth talking about here, so let's get back to the music. Track 11 opens with that Farisa organ and some of that recording from the last track. We hear it just blend together. But it moves into an acoustic piano sound. It's no surprise that a song called Love Doesn't Live Here No More also has a heavy R&B influence. There is a little bit of a psychedelic sound lightly sprinkled in, but it's mostly piano and Dan Auerbach singing. The song closes out much larger and modern, harmonizing vocals, guitars, organs, big drums, but then it eases back out the way it came in, nice and easy. The final track, Only One for Me, it really doesn't stray from the R&B sound. This track is a slow one that just really touches on these old R&B standards. I've been seeing a theme in some big names this year finding themselves using vintage sounds. The Arctic Monkeys, a bit with Gaz Coombs. It seems to be in style right now. I do like it, but nothing is incredibly new about it. I guess there's no need to reinvent the wheel because they don't make them like they used to. Either way, I'd give this a vinyl, please. Like I said in our last live show Tuesday night, which we do every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. Arizona time, there is a difference between being overproduced and well-produced. And I'd say this album hits the mark. Thanks again for listening, guys. I'm Keith Grevenitz, and you've been tuning into the Beat Sessions. Stay tuned for Mitch on Pumpkins duty this week. We know that Billy Corgan needs extra attention because he's a bit of a diva, but we still love him. Thanks, guys. See you around.